I'm Matt.
I'm Shane.
And if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that thumbs up button real hard, and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks.
And also click that little bell for all of the notifications.
Whee!
Always remember,
If Trailer Trash can do it,
anyone can do it.
All right, the Comic Movie Marks are here at Reno Pop Culture Con. This is what happens with San Diego Comic-Con copyrights everything. You get terrible names like this.
And we're trying really hard to not get this video taken off of YouTube. So it is the Pop Culture Con. We are here. We have actually already interviewed a bunch of people. We're doing this post. We did not forget this time to...
We've got the backdrop.
Yep. So here we go. We've got Green Lantern walking in the back. So yeah, it's so far been pretty successful. We've got some great information on what people knew about the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
That's about it.
Yeah.
So here's our intro.
Yeah. Bam.
Let's get into it. That's right. We were at Reno Pop Culture Con, a terrible name. Definitely not the best name for a Comic-Con, but thanks to San Diego, everybody has to come up with different names now.
Exactly. Stay classy, San Diego. I actually thought this kind of worked out pretty well with the Pop Culture Con. Yeah, you can no longer use Comic-Con unless you are, I guess, the Comic-Con. But Reno kind of went with it, and it seemed like the advertising kind of leading up to this was pretty spot on. I saw a lot of stuff just on social media, the news, things. If you don't know by now, we actually live in Reno, in the Reno Sparks area. So there was some billboards, things like that actually it seemed like they were really taking the pop culture name and going, okay, we're just going to run with it. And it wasn't San Diego Comic-Con, but it was pretty cool.
Yep, it was definitely fun to go there. Much better building than the one we went to in Sacramento.
Much.
By far, by a lot. Overall, it's a great convention center. The one thing that was different about this one compared to other ones was there was a lot of voice actors at this one, and a lot of anime voice actors, some Disney voice actors. Mm-hmm. So the people actually going to this one, yes, there was a lot of people dressed up like comic book characters and stuff like that, but you'll see in some of this B-roll footage, I'm not quite sure how well, but you'll notice a lot of people are actually dressed up like anime characters. There's a lot of My Hero Academia, and I think there was one guy with an Attack on Titans type get up and everything that we saw. So it's a lot of anime. A lot of anime. So this actually did make it a little difficult. One of the cool things about just walking in, Shane and I were talking, we're like, well, let's just walk around, check out some of the art like we did before, and then if we see certain people, we'll do it. And as I turn around, I'm like, hey, there happened to be a guy with the All Gods Zack Snyder t-shirt standing behind us. And that would be our first interview.
All right, we are here at the Reno Pop Culture Con. First question, what is your name?
Kevin.
Kevin, well, thank you very much for taking the time, answer a few questions for us. The first question is, what is your favorite DC movie?
Definitely Batman vs. Superman.
All right, Batman vs. Superman. So the next question would have been, what do you know about Zack Snyder? Do you know Zack Snyder? But obviously, given the shirt, that's why we decided to pick you out of the crowd as soon as we walked in here. So tell me what you're most excited about and what you know about the Snyder Cut.
I just know it's the original vision that he envisioned for us and that we all as fans wanted to see. And it's what I hope that we get one day.
What do you know about the Snyder Cut? How closely, how much detail do you know about the Snyder Cut? Do you follow it pretty closely?
I do, but I don't really want to fudge the details. I don't know it as well as. Yeah.
How complete do you think it is? Your personal opinion? Do you think it's complete? It's ready to go. Warner Brothers is just being dicks and not releasing it. Do you think it still has work? How close do you think it is to completion?
Honestly, I'm just guessing here, but I think it's 80% complete, and I'd be happy with just that. Honestly, just anything really.
Perfect. What was your excitement about Jason Momoa's post yesterday? What was your first reaction, with him stabbing Steppenwolf and getting ready to launch him into Wonder Woman?
Oh, I was very excited when I heard that, and it keeps me excited for the potential of a Snyder Cut release. Honestly.
Awesome. What would you like to see in the future Warner Brothers do with the DC universe? Well, obviously right now it's kind of up in the air. We're not exactly sure what the direction they're going to go. We've had the Joker movie, things like that. What is it that you want to see as a fan of the DC movies and as of the Snyder movies and the universe that he was developing? What do you want to see Warner Brothers do moving forward?
I honestly I want to see his complete vision, and I want to see more Ben Affleck, more Henry Cavill, and everybody that was casted by Zack Snyder.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ignore the rabbit in Shane's pocket.
Yeah, I brought my family along, or I guess my youngest and my wife to this pop culture con, and I forgot that I was just hanging on to his rabbit, and I was like, oh, there's a chance that he's probably made it into our video. So yeah, please ignore that. But aside from that, I thought Kevin did a great job, so thank you to him. He seemed a little nervous, but I thought he did exactly what we were looking for, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it was cool to see that shirt somewhere else other than on us. So it was cool to see that there is people here in our hometown obviously interested in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest surprise. I don't know why. It just kind of seems like Reno is still somewhat of a small town, and to have someone else who, actually a couple people, as we kind of started getting into some of the interviews, you'll see a couple more people that knew about the Snyder Cut and kind of where their source came from and things like that. Pleasantly surprised that more people know about it than I guess I gave credit to.
Yeah, we're basically the California's hemorrhoid as we slowly hold on to our smaller population, not very much longer. A lot of Californians flooding our way every day.
Get off my lawn, Californians.
I've always said, if anybody should build a wall, it's between Nevada and California. Last time we talked to an individual in a Superman costume. Well, this time we talked to another individual in a Superman costume, but we're going a little retro with this costume. So we talked to Carter here. You might be pleasantly surprised by some of his answers.
All right, so first question, what is your name?
My name is Carter, like the president.
Like the president, I like it. First question, what is your favorite DC movie?
I'd have to say Superman, the movie from 1978, followed very closely by Superman 2.
Okay, that makes sense given the classic getup. What did you think about Man of Steel?
I absolutely loved it. Like, that is tied for second with Superman 2.
Okay, perfect, awesome. So are you familiar with Zack Snyder?
I am, very much so.
Okay, what do you think about his movies and kind of what he was doing with the DC universe?
I liked what he was doing because he was kind of making them for like the diehard fans, whereas like a lot of times superhero movies tend to be like more for everybody. Like you can hop on in any place, whereas he made them specifically for the diehard fans. And so because I was a part of that particular group, I absolutely loved what he was doing, and I'm bummed that he didn't get to continue.
Perfect. So that leads to our next question. Are you familiar with the Snyder Cut?
I am. I was actually just reading something about that this morning.
Okay, awesome. So how much do you know about the Snyder Cut?
I know that a very rough cut exists and that Jason Momoa has seen it. And so I'm hoping that they'll kind of finish it up and re-release it later on down the line like they did with the Richard Donner cut for Superman 2.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so we actually did a video on kind of the comparisons of Richard Donner cut, what it meant for the Snyder cut, and things like that. So yeah, that's perfect. How complete do you think the movie actually is, his version of Justice League?
As far as the plot, I think it would be pretty complete. I don't think that the effects would be anywhere near done. Like for instance, I know that there was supposed to be a sequence with Darkseid, and so I think that one was just storyboarded. But I think that enough of it is done that it wouldn't cost too terribly much, maybe a couple million to finish, and then release it as a rough cut.
Would you be interested in like an almost finished version, or would you be interested in the final version? Everything has to be good. Well, like which version would you prefer?
I'd be happy with either or. At this point, I'd be happy with either or just because I love Zack Snyder's movies. I love his directing style. And so even with a rough cut, I'd be happy to see his vision for Justice League.
Awesome. Perfect. Anything else?
I would, yes. I get it from a Facebook page I follow called the DC Films Universe. And it's a page that like kind of filters through all the clickbait and only goes for credible sources. It's like any rumors that come up, they'll dispel them as just clickbait. Like when Henry Cavill was rumored to be out as Superman, they're the ones who said no. WB and his agent released a statement he's still in. So I get most of my news from them, as well as like the Real Stan Lee Facebook page.
Yep, I'm familiar with that. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Carter. Really appreciate it.
So thank you to Carter for answering a few questions for us. And at first, I actually thought his name was Connor, which I was going to be stoked about. You know, Connor as in like Superboy. Off camera, I corrected myself. I'm like, oh, okay, Carter. And then he even mentioned it briefly in the interview. Carter like the president. Okay, got it. So Carter, thank you very much. So the second question that I asked him was what his favorite DC movie was. And I was pleasantly surprised that he's open to both interpretations of not only the Christopher Reeve Superman, but also Henry Cavill / Zack Snyder Superman as well. Based on his first answer, Superman 1, the movie, and then he said, oh yeah, Superman 2, I was like, oh man, this is probably not going to go very well. Probably going to be very similar to the one in Sacramento. And he said Man of Steel, close second, tied with Superman 2. So I was like, okay, awesome. And Carter had more of an understanding of where Zack Snyder was trying to go with the character, and he had an appreciation for that interpretation. So I found that really cool.
And it's possible to like both iterations because that's what the point of comics are, is that no one character has ever been the same for their duration that they've been publicized. I mean, Superman's been around for 80 years. He's going to be different. There's going to be different interpretations. So now it turns into our rejection phase, where we were actually quite consistently rejected by numerous people throughout this point. We were hoping to get more interviews. We really actually wanted to do another topic as well, talking about Joker, but it was getting a little more difficult to get people on camera. One gentleman, an older gentleman, was wearing a Flash shirt. We went up to him, and he says, oh, I don't really like the videos. I don't like movies. Okay. All right. You're at Pop Culture Con. Like, I guess, yeah, there's comics, but damn, dude. And then after that, we see another younger guy in a Flash shirt and a guy in a full Guy Gardner costume. He even had the red hair, almost a bowl cut, but, you know, he's thinning a little bit, so he couldn't quite pull off the bowl cut. And there was actually another gentleman wearing a Green Lantern costume, kind of more of a Kyle Rayner type, and they were kind of doing like a standoff. They were doing some jokes for pictures, and we're like, which one do we want to try to go for? Because they literally walked opposite directions afterwards. So we went for the Guy Gardner one because he also had a guy with him wearing a Flash shirt, and they rejected us as well. Apparently, the guy in the Flash shirt, when we asked him about the interview, said, wait, is this going to be on video? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, oh no. And he puts his hand near his face, and he's like, I don't do video.
Yeah, like some kind of drug dealer or
witness protection program or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why it reminded me of Christopher Walken's character from Joe Dirt. Like, he didn't want to be on camera, and he didn't want anybody to know what he did when he saved everybody from the school. And then the guy in the Guy Gardner costume, which actually, if you go back to our intro, you'll see him walking behind us when we were doing the intro, and he puts up like a thumbs up. Oh, now you're on video, and you, so.
Yeah, thanks a lot. As Matt mentioned earlier, just kind of the different demographic that was at this con, it actually seemed to be a little bit harder than the Sacramento con, even though this one was packed full of a lot of people. I felt that the Reno con had a lot more energy to it, but there wasn't necessarily, I don't know if I want to call Jason Momoa like a headliner, but there wasn't like that marquee person. There was a lot of voice actors. Jodie Benson from Little Mermaid was there. Val Kilmer, he was there as well. So there wasn't one specific person that was like, yeah, this is what everyone is lining up for. And I think that kind of added to our difficulty in getting like, okay, there was a pretty good crowd here, but at the same time, we're not really sure which person to pluck out, and we struck out with the Green Lantern.
So then we see a gentleman with his kids, and he's wearing a sleeveless Batman shirt, and we're like, okay, we'll go with him. We'll just try. Right now, we're asking anybody.
Try anyone.
One thing, though, that is funny is that Shane says, what's your favorite DC movie? One of the kids does say Flash, so apparently he's gone in the future and saw the Ezra Miller Flash movie. We already got our first review for that one, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, and the kid liked it. Boom, there you go.
Maybe it's an animated movie that he was thinking of, or maybe he just heard DC character on it. But either way, it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
it was funny. It made me laugh when he said Flash. I'm like, oh shit, he's seen it. And this gentleman had no idea about anything about the Snyder Cut, but you could see his face, his reaction to it all. Like, he gets excited about some of the possibilities of this cut.
So first question, what are your names?
My name's Roberto Jr. and Adrian.
All right. So next question is, what is your favorite DC movie?
My favorite DC movie is Aquaman, actually. Yeah.
Cool. What about you?
Flash. Mine is Shazam.
Shazam. All right. What do you know about? Are you familiar with like Zack Snyder, the director?
A little bit, not too much, but I know that he did a few of the movies.
Are you familiar at all with the Snyder Cut of Justice League?
I've watched some snippets of it, but I haven't actually seen the whole thing. So
Okay. So essentially, there is an alternate version of. Have you seen Justice League? The Justice League that came out?
yeah, the movies. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So there's an alternate version done by the original director that did Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel. It's pretty much completely different from what we saw. Would you be interested in seeing an alternate version, possibly longer, more to the tone of the Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel?
Yeah. We're always down for watching anything superhero. As long as DC, Marvel, you know.
Do you watch before?
Endgame? All right. Cool.
I see.
So completely different, and they had Darkseid in it, as opposed to, you know, Steppenwolf was in it as well, but had Darkseid, and Zack Snyder was actually supposed to do 3 Justice League movies originally.
Yeah.
That was his whole goal. Eventually, Lois Lane gets pregnant. Batman sacrifices himself, and guess what? The child of Clark and Lois was. Well, guess what his name was?
Clark and Lois.
Maybe Bruce.
Bruce?
Yep. it was
Really?
Bruce. Yep. So they named him Bruce. Batman sacrifices himself. So a completely different version.
No,
of the
I haven't
movie.
seen that one. That actually sounds interesting.
Yeah. So that's it. That didn't come to be, unfortunately. But there's a whole different version of Justice League that's almost done. We're just hoping one day it'll get released. Our Warner Brothers.
We'd watch it definitely. So it's already made. They just haven't released it, or
So they got a new director, Joss Whedon, who did the Avengers movies and things like that. So it completely went in a whole different direction.
dang, we would have watched that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Cool.
So if it went on like HBO Max, would you get that subscription for that service that's streaming?
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, hell yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
So thank you to him. I think he took a picture of our shirt to make sure he found us afterwards. So hopefully he finds us. Thank you very much for doing that interview with us. And then we turn around and we see a Bale Batman, kinda. This is kind of a mixture. He's like an all types of Batman. And we're like, well, let's go. We got a Batman last time. Let's get another Batman. And the funny thing about this gentleman was he was asking, do you want me to be in character or not?
Yeah, I appreciated his, I guess, initial question of like being character, because the guy at the Sacramento Comic Con actually started in character and then kind of phased out a little bit. You know, like Batman doesn't have time to go to the movies and things like that. We're like, okay. And then Matt was able to pull him out of character a little bit and get genuine reaction to what the possibility of the Snyder Cut could actually mean.
So Shane actually switches up the questions back and forth. These were going to be our original Joker questions for people that we were going to interview about Joker. But just because we weren't able to get that many interviews, Shane kind of like mixed it up because he said his favorite movie was Joker. The interview kind of goes a little bit back and forth between Snyder Cut questions and Joker questions. And I love this guy's response. It's kind of what I really hope most DC fans are. In the most part, that they're open to all interpretations and they would be willing to see. We could go from a Shazam and to a Joker and back to something else like Shazam or find a middle ground as well. It shouldn't be one universal tone, and I love this guy's answers.
All right, so first question is, what is your name?
Abraham.
Abraham. All right, well, thank you, Abraham, for answering a few questions for us. Next one is, what is your favorite DC movie?
Ooh, that's a toughie. Right now, actually, it's Joker.
The Joker, okay. Awesome. Did you hear any of the controversy that was surrounding the Joker, and what did you think of it?
I did, but I thought it was blown out of proportion. I mean, you really got to go see the movie in order to understand it. Yeah, I'm very much, you go watch it, and you take and interpret what you want from it. And, you know, I'd rather just leave it at that.
Awesome. Are you familiar with Zack Snyder at all?
Yes, absolutely. That's, that where this Batman symbol comes from.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. What do you know about the Snyder Cut of Justice League?
I heard it was better, but until we see it, I mean, there's nothing else I can say. I gotta like what I have. I have the extended version of what's that? Batman vs Superman. I have the extended version. I liked it for the most part, but until we get to that Snyder Cut, I can't say anything else.
How close to completion do you think that it is?
It probably was already done because that whole little thing with his son unfortunately happened at the end of it. So I'm pretty sure it was done.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of things that have been coming out are leading us to believe it's actually a lot closer than what we originally thought. So it's pretty close. It's supposedly it might come out on the HBO Max subscription service. Are you familiar with that at all?
I'm familiar with HBO Max. I didn't know it was going to come out.
It's rumored. Would you get the HBO Max subscription service to see the Snyder Cut of Justice League?
Well, I already have HBO on demand, I guess. So it probably whatever comes with my service provider. Really, if it's there, I'll get it.
Okay. Awesome. Any other questions? Oh yeah. Well, so where do you get all the information that you have about the Snyder Cut that you know? Where do you get most of the information from?
Usually Slash Films is one of the places I go check out about movie stuff. IMDb as well. Find a lot of stuff there.
Okay, cool. And what did you think? Just YouTube. All right. On the back on the Joker thing, what did you think of the tone of the Joker and kind of what they were doing, what Warner Brothers did, and with that specific movie?
I really felt as though they told them, do a movie, enjoy it, and go with it. You don't need sequels. It's it felt like. It's like you could just go and do a movie. It doesn't have to be tied into a cinematic universe. It doesn't have to be done, to where it has to set up another film. But it was just a great movie, and I've seen it twice already, and both times it's just a great movie to sit down and watch, enjoy.
Would you be interested in seeing more movies done in that type of tone and that specific, just kind of one-offs?
Absolutely, especially with other DC characters that people don't know. It'd be great just to see what they can do with it, and just let movie directors just run with what they see as the vision of that character. That's for me. That's what I believe.
Amen. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, sir. Really.
So that wraps up our interviews at Reno Pop Culture Con. Yeah, we only got 4 on this one. It was a tough sell to try to get people on camera for the most part. Wasn't quite the demographic that we were looking for. Maybe next time we'll just pull the trigger and just try to get anybody we can on camera talking to them.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who answered the questions for us. And quick side note on Kevin. Kevin actually watched the SnyderCon on Vero when it was happening, and he remembered us. He remembered our Dead Brain live stream that we were doing when we were exhausted at the end of SnyderCon. And we found it kind of funny because he's like, oh yeah, I remember you guys. He didn't click the subscribe button. So thanks, Kevin. Hopefully he does this time. But he did recognize us. So that was our brief, I guess, recognition and fame. So thank you, Kevin. And thank you to everyone who did answer the questions for us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we slightly got recognized. And it's funny because I think the one time that we've been thoroughly recognized was actually going to SnyderCon. And I don't think that gentleman was at the SnyderCon event because he said he recognized us from YouTube. But remember when we were at that cafe and we were sitting there eating on the last day? I think it was Monday. So we were about to head out, but we were at Lovebird's Cafe. And this one guy just he's throwing away his trash and he turns around and he looks at us. He's like, are you guys on YouTube? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've seen you. Yeah. And he starts, I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
That made me laugh. And then Kevin saying that he vaguely remembered us dying on a bed trying to do a live stream. It just made me laugh. So when you do get recognized, yeah, the moments you do get recognized are kind of funny. So in case I don't see you,
good afternoon, good evening, and good night.